Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you are watching this. Welcome back to the 36th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast for all things Heart of Midlothian. Joining you as always is myself, Ewan Ramsey, and Alan Scrimger. Alan, how are you doing, sir? You all good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good, thanks. I've not had the best 48 hours because I had my COVID booster jab the other day, but today I've started feeling a bit more human today, so that's a bonus.
Good for you, man. Good for you. For today's episode, we are going to be talking about the preview of the St Johnstone game at home at Tynecastle. It'll be the first match since the winter break was brought forward, and like many of you out there, we can't wait to watch the Hearts back in action. The game will take place on Tuesday, the 18th of January on a 7:45 kickoff. So we're going to do a preview on that, which is going to be the main topic. And of course, we will have Alan's news segment, which is going to be ultimately revolving all around the transfer window for the potential ins and outs throughout this month. So we will talk a bit about that as well. So that is going to be your podcast for this evening. So before we get started as well, if you are a Hearts fan and you have stumbled upon this podcast as well, please think about subscribing and smash that like button because it is greatly appreciated as always, guys. And of course, if you want to get in contact with us through any of our social media platforms, we are at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at SIWY Pod. And alternatively as well, if you want to get in contact with us for our email as well, you can certainly do that. Since I was young, 1874 at gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan, our links to our Twitter pages will be in the description as always. So Alan, before we do get kicked off into the news segment, I would just like to take a wee second just to say thank you to everyone who watched our last episode with Alan's interview with Aussiescout. For all of you that did watch that, it was all about our latest signing, Nathaniel Atkinson. Just a basic sort of breakdown of the actual player itself, and we were so happy because it turned out that it is now our highest viewed podcast since we started. So to everyone, thank you so much, honestly, because even though it's only about maybe, I don't know, like I think it's about 340 views the last time we looked, for us, it means like the absolute world, guys. So honestly, thank you so much. And lastly, as well, congratulations, Alan, sir. That was absolutely brilliant, professional as fuck. Honestly, could not, like, honestly, it was absolutely brilliant, mate.
Cheers. Yeah, thanks very much. It's gone down very well and had lots of positive feedback. So yeah, it's nice to get that kind of that side of things, I think, and speak to somebody that's watched the player a lot more regularly than I have. So it's nice. It was good. It went down well. Thank you very much again.
Absolutely. Stats for days. So if you are a fan of stats and a Hearts fan, blow your load all over that. Enjoy that. So now that we got that out the way, Alan, we're going to move swiftly back to yourself for the news segment as always. And as I mentioned, transfer news. Obviously, of course, there's been a lot of talk throughout the last few weeks concerning both ins and outs of the squad. So we're going to start with the potential ins because, like, that's been a bit of a chat throughout the last few weeks, as I previously mentioned. So what names have been floating about throughout the last few weeks, sir?
Well, it's like you say, it's that time of the year where you start hearing names and things, and we haven't been linked with too many in terms of names. I think Robbie said, and Joe Savage has said as well, that they're looking for a striker in January, as we've said ourselves, and lots of fans have said multiple times, we need another striker. So it's nice to know that they're aware and they're chasing it. One name that was linked over the last few days, actually, was a story that broke about Shankland, Laura Shankland, that was at Dundee United. He moved to Belgium to Beerschot, I think is the name of the team. He hasn't settled very well there at all. and is apparently looking for a way to come back to the UK, be it Scotland or lower leagues of English football. I think it's one of these links that's quite easy to make to Hearts.
Yeah.
I think because obviously Robbie had him at Dundee United and worked with him there, and obviously admired him as a player there. So it's not a surprise to see us linked with him, but I'm not sure about you. I liked Lawrence Shankland. I think there's a player there, but I don't know if it's right. I don't know if he's the right kind of player for us. I mean, I could be wrong. But I think if we were going to be keen to get him, we should have got him before he went to Belgium, when it was clear that he was going to leave Dundee United.
I do agree, mate. Like just what you said there, like it's the sort of player that you would kind of be expected Hearts to be linked with. I think under the old sort of regime in terms of the scouting network that we had, I think if that name were to be floated about back then, I think it's the sort of name that you would think would be quite a good addition to the squad. However, I think in the times that we are now, and more specifically because we've got Joe Savage as well, I think. Do I think Shankland is a good striker? Yes. Would I potentially want to have him at Hearts? Maybe. I'm kind of in two minds about it. I know that you made your sort of views sort of on it not too long ago, where you would preferably not have him in the squad.
Yeah, I just don't think he fits the profile of player that we're looking at.
Yeah,
like you said, with Savage and his contacts and his markets that we seem to be exploring. I don't think Shankland is. Put it this way, I mean, if you sign him, you're not going to be able to sell him for decent money because he's a bit older. Again, it's the same like Kyle Lafferty. Kyle Lafferty.
He's been linked with us about 10 times throughout the last 5 years.
Aye, well, he's terminated. He's had his contract at his current club terminated, and he's looking for a club again. So that link comes back up again. But it's the same old links. But going on to the next one, and this one probably showcases a bit more the Joe Savage recruitment situation. Whether or not there's any legs to it, I don't know. But I was sitting the other night and scrolling through social medias, just looking for any glimpse of news about football, because obviously with no actual football being played at the moment, it's kind of difficult to keep
Shite,
up.
Alan. Shite.
It is, isn't it?
That's what it's called.
It is. It really is. Just get the games back. So I saw this tweet, and it was linking us to a South Korean striker, Young Wook Cho, apparently, or Chu it could be. Apparently, predominantly a right winger, plays up front as well for FC Seoul. Seoul. Yeah. Pronunciations are just butchered, to be honest with you. Anyway, apparently we were interested, but again, it's one of those that it could be something to it, it could be nothing. There was in the same tweet, there was a bit about Hamburg potentially being interested in him. But these things, it's because it's January, you get these silly stories, but that one does seem a bit more believable considering we're kind of looking in different markets. There was also the was it Japanese striker or Oriental striker that we were linked with a couple of weeks ago.
Was that the one? Sorry, I know. Was that the player? If I'm right in saying that was apparently linked with a transfer fee of around 750,000 euros or something like that.
Something along the lines of that. I think it was like Ogashiwa or Ogashiwa. But that link died down pretty quickly because I think he put a statement out saying that he's got unfinished business in that league and wants to stay. So that kind of fell by the wayside a bit.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, again, it's like I say, it's good that we're being linked with players, regardless of how legitimate the links are. It's just nice to hear some names. But I think it's quite interesting. And before I speak about the players that might well be going out,
of course,
I want to note as well that I don't panic about where we are right now. That this Hearts team got us to third in the table at the moment, and we're points ahead in third. It's not as if we're 10 points, 15 points, or whatever. It's still a competition. There's still a race to be had. But I'd much rather be in our position than in the position of Hibs, for example.
Oh fuck, guy. Oh fuck,
everybody. the thing is, they've started signing some players, and everybody's going, oh, they've signed players, they've signed this guy, they've signed that guy. Yeah, because they had to. The Hibs summer transfer window was not good enough. Our summer transfer window was fantastic, which is why we are where we are. So look, date of recording is the 9th of January. We've not signed anyone apart from Nathaniel Atkinson, who I think is probably travelling over soon, because he posted something on Instagram. It was like a farewell message to Melbourne City, to which Cammy Devlin simply replied, "Just get on the plane," which I thought was quite.
Well, yeah, so was it on that note? If you haven't heard the Aussiescout interview with Alan all about Nathaniel Atkinson, it will be in the description for your viewing pleasure. So please get on that. Sorry, Alan. Please continue, sir.
No, I was just going to say he put up some post on Instagram, some heartfelt thanks to Melbourne City FC. So that makes it sound as if the wheels are actually turning now, and he might well be on the way. But as I say, it was a lovely message that he put, and then Cammy Devlin was one of the first replies, and all it said was, "Get on the plane."
No,
I was like,
good man. Yes, but, Cameron, absolutely.
No, I mean, in terms of like just transfers in general, I'm not, like I said, I'm not panicking. I'm not worried at the moment, because even like a Suter situation or whatever, these things will get resolved. And I think, like you said there beforehand, the previous regime that we had under Levine and that sort of, John Murray, those guys, I'd be panicking if they were still here, because I'd be thinking, okay, you're about to let certain players leave potentially for nothing. What's the plan? Whereas I think that Savage and his recruitment team, and Robbie as well, obviously, they have a plan. We don't know what that plan is, but they will have a plan for these things, because they will have planned out what scenarios could happen.
For sure, Alan, for sure. Well, thank you for that wee update on the potential ends. Now we move on to the potential outs, and I'm going to set it up for you, and I'm going to hear what your views on it, because I know it can be a bit of a sensitive subject with yourself. Armand Gnanduillet. Now, of course, there has been a bit of speculation about his sort of overall role within the squad today, and also as well there has been a link with Nando being moved down to England. What's the story on that, mate?
Yeah, so Nando is a player that's kind of divided fan bases for a while, and
definitely.
I don't even think it's divided at this point. I think it's 90% just think he's useless. But look, I mean, it's one of those situations that, Robbie said it before in the summer, we'll sign, and this was obviously while Nando was still here. He said, we'll sign players, but they won't all be Messi. And I think Nando certainly falls into that category. You can't have every single sign-in work out brilliantly. Like it doesn't happen. And Nando is that way. He came in with as a good option, as a good plan. If the first plan wasn't working, the alternative was bring on Nando. And in theory, it works very well. But in practice, when he's been given opportunities, he's just not taken them enough. So as much as I like him, and I do like him, and I will, if and when he goes, I will wish him all the best and hope that wherever he goes next, he'll bang in goals, because I believe he will. He was at Blackpool not too long ago, and I know that's obviously a lower level than the Scottish Premier League, but he's capable of scoring goals if you play to his strengths. We've just not been able to do that, because that's not how we play. But so he's been linked with Salford City, obviously famously owned by the class of '92 of Manchester United. I think that would fit him, and I think that level would potentially be the right level for him to go to.
Yeah, Alan. I mean, I do agree with the sense that, you and me, we've talked about him quite a few times as well, and we have both wanted him to actually do well. I just think it kind of falls down to the system that we've actually been doing throughout this season. I think there's not really a place for him as such, but which is a bit unfortunate. But again, if he goes somewhere where his form starts to pick up, then that's what it's all like about, mate. So and as always as well, we'll keep you up dated on any movement as well. And speaking of movement, a heavily linked player with a move away from Tynecastle. Again, we talked about him a few times. Jamie Walker. There's been was it a few links that have cropped up with a move down south to Bradford and also up here as well, both linking him with St Johnstone and Livingston. I mean, it's not surprising that there's been links with Jamie Walker potentially moving away from Tynecastle, mate. Are you surprised that the one link from down south, specifically Bradford, mate?
I was a little bit when it came up. I thought that's. I didn't put this. I wouldn't expect
odd.
It.
Yeah,
I feel like Walker is better than that level. You know, I'm not saying that he's because I think Bradford are League Two.
I think you're right.
In England, potentially League Two, potentially. So that's like the fourth tier of English football. I don't think he's that past it. I don't think he's that bad that's his level now. I think, and I said this a couple of weeks ago, that I'm kind of jumping kind of back and forward on Jamie Walker. Like,
I know,
he's the sort of player that I want him to play. I do. I want him to play. Do I want him to play at Hearts every week? No, because he's not good enough to play for us every week. But I think it's an interesting one. And if the Bradford City link or interest is real, then fair enough. But I've got a feeling he'll end up staying up here. I don't think it'll be Livingston. I'll rule them out for the pure and simple fact of their pitch. Jamie Walker's obviously had lots of injuries.
Yeah, no, true.
And going and playing on an artificial pitch every week will not help that. St Johnstone, we'll talk about them later, obviously.
Of course,
but I think he could do a decent job for them in the position that they're in. But look, time will tell. I think Walker needs to play games, and I think but it's one of those. If he stayed at Hearts and saw out the last few months of his contract and then left on a free at the end of the season, I wouldn't complain about that as long as we used him. We used him between now and then.
Yeah,
just leave him sitting on the bench all the time.
No, Alan, because like you just said there, like I totally agree with what you actually said. I think to have him as an option, like if it's to see out the rest of his contract at the end of the season, then I'm absolutely fine. But just speaking from his point of view as well, like he wants to actually play games, so if it's going to be better for him, then absolutely sound. So like you said, time will tell on that one. And finally, we have got the answer, but the ever-growing speculation of club after club after club for this man. Obviously, it has been made very aware that our beloved centre-back, John Suter, will not be here at the end of the season. Now, of course, there have been a few clubs being linked to sign him on a pre-contract. You can go through all these clubs, mate, because there's far too many to fucking mention, honestly.
Well, it's predominantly English clubs. There's so there was Nottingham Forest, Blackburn Rovers, Sheffield United.
Yes, Stoke as well. You were the ones as well, yeah.
Stoke, and Stoke. So I think his agent was down. I seem to remember reading something that his agent was down south. Either it was this week or last week. Well, it would have been this week. It would have been this week. He went down south to discuss with clubs and see what they could do. But there's another link that doesn't seem to be going away, and that is with Rangers. A trip along the M8 to go and play for the Rangers. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm just going to put it out there. I do not think, I know financially Rangers could probably offer him more than what the English clubs can, because
they can though. They can. Rangers are fucking skint. Rangers are fucking skint.
But they'll have offered him a decent package, whatever it is. They'll have put a contract on the table for him as well. The positives from Suter's point of view, not needing to move, not needing to move down to England. He's got a young family. It's I hate to say it, but it does make sense, and that's what frustrates me.
No, it doesn't.
From a purely practical point of view, it makes sense.
No, absolutely not.
But let me get my next point out there. I think Scottish football has seen the best of John Suter. I don't think going to Rangers will make him any better than he is now.
Do you think so? Because, just to kind of put a counterpoint on that as well. Obviously, if he were to go to Rangers, obviously he would have regular European football and possibly Champions League, as well. Which, with the champion, with the potential championship clubs as well, he's not really going to get that.
No, but the thing is, I see where you're coming from, but I just think that up here, he's not. I don't think he's going to get any better if he goes to Rangers than what he is now. I think he's going to be playing the same players. He's going to be up against the same players that he's been up against playing for us.
Yeah, true.
I think English football going to the Championship would mean it's a test for him, and he will need to improve if he goes down there, because he'll look at it and go, right, Championship forwards are streets ahead of majority of Scottish football forwards. So it'll hopefully take his game on another gear and make him go, right, I need to improve here, and that's ambition, and I think that's perfect for him. But it's one of those, and I'm not surprised with the Rangers links. I'm not either. If he chooses to go to Rangers on a pre-contract, I would want money for him, and they can have him in January, like what Motherwell are doing with Tony Watt, because obviously I think Tony Watt's going to go to Dundee United, but Motherwell are basically saying, well, if you want him now, we want money for him rather than a pre-contract at the end of the season. And I think we should do something similar with Rangers, because at least that way we're getting some money for him, albeit pennies, but better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that actually kind of brings me on to the question that I did have for you regarding this whole debacle. So given the choice, if you were in charge of Hearts, Alan, so if you had the choice, would you rather go with the situation as it potentially stands now, where we're going to get another 5 months of John Suter in the squad, and we would make use of him throughout that time? Or if you had the option to sell him this month, albeit not a huge sum, but it'll still be dumping, which option would be more appealing to yourself?
I think it's a difficult one.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of those, because if we're going to be able to sell him and get money, it's only going to be Rangers, because he can go and sign for an English club on a pre-contract and they don't have to give us any money, unless we say, well, look, do you want him now? You can have him for whatever. But I don't really know, and there's pros and cons to both, because I think if he stays with us for the next 5 months and then moves down to England, we get him for 5 more months, which is great.
Yeah.
But and that might help us to achieve 3rd place, which is obviously the end goal of what we all want to do.
Exactly.
I think you have to look at it and go, do we have more chance of finishing 3rd with or without him?
Again, you can't really. Well,
it's
a weird one,
because the flip side of it is you move him on in January, he goes to Rangers, and the thing is, Rangers and Celtic are in a title fight that we're not involved in, so he's going to go and help one of them. He's going to go and help Rangers, rather. That doesn't impact Hearts. Rangers finishing top of the league and winning the league doesn't impact Hearts. Him not being with us maybe then means, right, Robbie Neilson can look at the players he's got and just kind of get used to life without Suter. Because
true.
It is an interesting question, and I think that, again, I said it about the transfers I was talking about before. I have a lot of faith in the current setup and I mean players,
of course, yeah,
and backroom staff on that. I think, like I said, they'll have looked at every possible scenario of what could happen and where he could go. And
mm-hmm.
Rangers have put a contract on the table for John Suter, which they're well entitled to do.
Mm-hmm.
If John Suter signs that, then I'm not gonna. I've seen stories of, I'll wish his Achilles will snap the minute he gets there. I'm not gonna subscribe.
Come
to
on
that
now,
because
come on, that's utter
you know,
pish patter. No, away with that.
I think the thing is that John Suter, we have to remember as well, and I said this because we've spoken a lot about him because
Mm-hmm.
it's been a topic of conversation.
Always.
I think we have to remember that he's making the most of the fact of where he is now.
Yeah.
He's had injuries that have really hurt his career massively, and he's finally, touch wood, free of them. He's in good form. It's only right that he's going to attract interest, and if that interest is Rangers and he wants to go there, fair play.
I get
if
that.
I was in his shoes, I would go down south, but that's just because I'd rather do anything than go and play in Glasgow in general.
Absolutely, man. I agree with that.
To answer your question, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, and it's probably one of the few times that I will join you firmly on that fence as well. But just to kind of wrap off the news segment, I mean, it's probably something that we'll put up on to the Twitter page. If you were in charge of Hearts, which would you rather like to see John Suter go this month and get something for him, or would you rather make use of the next 5 months and keep him in the squad until the end of the season? So we can pop that on to our Twitter page. So Alan, as always, thank you very much for the news segment, man. Always greatly appreciated. So we can move swiftly on to the main topic, which is football is back, more specifically football at Tynecastle, which I'm sure that we're all dying to see back. And the first game back after the winter break will be against St Johnstone on the 18th of January, Tuesday night, 7:45 kickoff. So, Alan, I'm going to do a first time thing on my end because, it is like a brand new year. Stats based. Here we go, son. So we're going to dissect through the opponent that we are facing. So St Johnstone have had a dreadful start to this season's campaign. As we are sitting halfway through this season, they are currently sitting bottom of the Scottish Premiership. Just to put a bit of context on that, so their home record this season: 1 win, 3 draws, and 7 losses. And surprisingly, their away record is actually slightly better, but not much better. So it is 2 wins, 2 draws, and 5 losses. Now, it is, for me, I mean, I say it's a massive surprise, but obviously they had, well, I mean, not that they had to, but they had a lot of the players leave during the summer as well, after that remarkable season that they had last year, where they won both the league and the Scottish Cup. So it has changed pretty dramatically for them. Obviously, of course, the last time we met St Johnstone was at McDermott Park, which was a 1-1 draw, which again kind of caused like a bit of division in the sense that some folks say that we probably could have won that game, but in retrospect, since our form at the McDermott Park has been shocking for the last number of years, like to come away with a point, it's not too bad on that front. Yeah. So, Alan, where is your head at going forward into the game next Tuesday on the 18th?
I think, like you say, I think they had a ridiculous season last year. And I think you tend to find with these sorts of achievements, like it draws attention to that team. Mm-hmm. When a team does well, and I mean, even on a different scale, when you've got a team that, say, does well in European football, they get put in the spotlight, and then other teams are interested in their players and they take it away. And I think that's what happened with St Johnstone. They lost Jason Kerr and Ali McCann, who were 2 key players for them last year. I think as well, though, I think a lot should be said about the manager. I
Yeah.
think Callum Davidson was linked with a number of clubs in the summer in the English Championship. I think Preston and I think maybe Ipswich, or there was certainly some interest from clubs in England in his services, and I think that maybe turned his head a little bit, maybe distracted him a little bit.
Okay, interesting.
They've not had a good start to the season.
Really
at
not.
all, to be honest. I'm incredible. I mean, I'd say I'm surprised that they're bottom of the league, but I'm not, considering how badly they've been. They should be bottom of the league.
Yeah.
They've done a little bit of business in January so far, though, because they need to. They've brought in a couple of defenders, I think one from the Irish League and one from England. They've also brought in Ali Crawford, who was formerly of Hamilton, good young player. Well, he's not so young now, but came through at Hamilton and did well, was playing down in England, so they brought him back up. And they've also signed Nader Shifty, that was at Celtic all those moons ago, and also Dundee United as well. A striker that just seems to score goals in Scottish football, so could be a good move for them. Hopefully he doesn't start with some goals against us.
Absolutely not, sir.
But so they needed to bring players in, because their season, the first half, has been absolutely disastrous. So
dreadful, mate, dreadful. I mean, it wouldn't be Hearts if we didn't have a slight sort of concern about it being the first game back after the winter break, and like me, I don't know about yourself. The game is at home, they're sitting at the bottom of the league. They've had a shite start, and you think, fucking breeze, but you can't just rule out Hearts. Typical fashion, it'd be like, I will steam roll them, and then it'll fall flat on our faces. I mean, I think the main message of this game, I think for the team mainly, because we ended the first half of the season relatively strong. I think it's not to get too complacent and think, right, okay, we're just going to be absolutely fine. I won't have to work as hard, because of course, like you said there, St Johnstone will be trying to get points on the board straight off, the front foot. So I think the main thing for me is to not get too complacent, thinking that they wouldn't be able to take anything away from Tynecastle, because I think even if the game were to end in a draw again, I think that would be a bit shite. Because we've made Tynecastle a relatively hard place to actually come again, throughout the campaign. So I think we just have to be on our toes and just steamroll them to fuck.
Yeah, I think as well, though, obviously at the moment we don't know in terms of what the fan situation is going to be. Whether fans will be allowed or not, I don't know.
Probably not.
I would assume there'll be some sort of announcement maybe this week as we're recording, because I think that's the end of the 3-week break that was announced previously. But no, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I hope fans are allowed in some capacity, and it's funny because obviously we're just finishing an FA Cup weekend down in England, and every single game has been packed to the rafters at stadiums, and you watch it and you just think that's what football's about. That's what it is. I miss that. Totally miss that.
Yeah. As long as all the lovely people get to see the rugby, as Sturgeon is hoping for as well, good luck to you. Fuck off. Honestly, that rubbed my buttons a bit. Like, who watches rugby? I can loads of people watch it, but who actually watches it? Alan, you don't. You don't.
I don't. But really, yeah, as I say, I hope that they do lift some restrictions, or even if they say you can have a percentage of people in the stadium. I'm not asking for full houses, but even just something would be nice. Yeah. But look, going back to it, we should win. We should be targeting a win.
Definitely.
I think we will win.
Yeah.
But it's like you say, it depends on how, which side use the winter break the best way, and we have had a fantastic first half of the season.
Indeed.
But that's done now. It's the St Johnstone game is the first game back, and we've got, I think, 4 games between now and the end of February, at the start of February.
It's a jam-packed January, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah, obviously, as a result of the winter break being moved, these things have a knock-on effect. But look, it is what it is, and we have to deal with that,
Yeah.
And Robbie's already said that he's going to rotate the side and use the squad because he's going to have to.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's just nice to have football back in some capacity, and hopefully, as I say, hopefully we can come through with a win.
Definitely, Alan. Definitely. So, just before we move on to the last part, which will be the predictions, what would you like to see from the Heart side when we do take on St Johnstone as well? Because there seems to be a really good team spirit, right now. So, yeah, what are the main things you would like to see when we kick off the second half of the season, man?
Well, they were saying that Benny could be back for it. So that's a bonus because I think obviously we've lost him for the last few games with his injury, so he should be back because obviously the winter breaks allowed us to rest these players. I just want to see more of the same.
Yeah,
to be honest, I just want to see us do more of the same. But equally, I think obviously we're third at the moment, and there's this whole conversation about which team can finish third, who's going to win the race for third place.
I knew you were going to bring this up. I knew you were going to bring this up.
Yeah, this is a thing, right? So we're in third at the moment, and we deserve to be third. We deserve to be third.
100%. Yep.
Not just because of who our goalkeeper is. Before we talk about that, right? That yeah, you know what I'm talking about, and people that are listening will know what I'm talking about. Yeah. It was the comment that was put on, or there was content put on the Sky Sports Scotland Twitter account last week, I think it was, or the week before, and they were talking about the race for third place, and they were talking about Aberdeen, they were talking about Hibs, and they were talking about us.
In depth as well. By the way.
They spoke about Hibs, they spoke about Aberdeen, and basically said, they've got XYZ, they've got this, that, next thing, and they've got Sean Maloney, he can come in and do business, blah, blah, blah. Then they spoke about Hearts, and all they said was Craig Gordon is crucial to that team. Now he is crucial to that team. I'm not denying
No,
that.
No, of course not.
He's not the sole reason that we're third.
No.
I think that there needs to be a bit more respect put on this team. And we've not had Boyce in some games, and we've still won them.
Yeah.
And Boyce is the top goal scorer. So anyway, before I go on a whole rant about that, I just feel like we are in prime position at this moment in time for third place.
Yeah.
And that we should be carrying that on. St Johnstone, like you said, there's a bit of doubt because we're Hearts. It's what we could do. You just don't know. But that doubt shouldn't be there.
No, absolutely not.
Judging off form and the way that we're playing and the way that they're playing, yes, there's been a break. We should win the game. We should win the game. And I believe we will. I'm going, my prediction, I'm just going to jump straight to it. I'm going a 2-0 win. I'm going a 2-0 win and a clean sheet for our crucial goalkeeper, who without him, we'd be bottom of the table and probably back in the championship if Sky Sports had anything to go by.
Yeah, because the rest of our squad is pish. Yeah. So, like, mate, I've not really got anything to add to that. Like I said, I don't want to sound like sort of the bitter like of that, but it was just the fact that they went in depth like about these teams as well, who, let's face it, they've not had the greatest campaign. Like, maybe you could make a case for Motherwell possibly, but just in that sense as well, Hibs have been shite. Aberdeen, even though throughout the end of the when we came in to the winter break, they started to gain like a bit of form, but for the most part, they've been shite. But like you said again, and Craig Gordon has been so crucial to the success of Hearts, which he has, but that's not the sole thing that's actually put us in to third as well. So I do completely agree that it was just really just brushed over, and that's it.
I think as well. I think the thing about Aberdeen and Hibs in particular, Hibs have got Sean Maloney now, and he'll go out and bring players in, which they have done.
Yeah.
And I said it earlier on, they need to bring players in. Mm-hmm. We obviously, Hearts want to bring players in. Robbie Nielsen said we want to bring players in, but if we, by some disaster, didn't manage to bring anybody in, but equally didn't lose anyone, this is still the team that's got us to third.
Exactly.
So we should be strong enough. And if, like, Nathaniel Atkinson obviously improves in a position that we need improvement, that's a bonus. If he was the only one that came in, I'm still sitting here going, well, I'm still confident in the players that we've got.
Quality over quantity, sir.
Exactly.
So just because you made your prediction there, it might be a bit of an anti-climax now. But so yeah, you went for the 2-0 win against St Johnstone. I'm going to be a tiny bit more optimistic because that's what I do. Misplaced or not, like who cares? So I'm going to go for a 3-0 win for the Hearts when we return after the winter break. So, and as always as well, we would love to hear what your predictions will be down in the comments as well. What you think the score is going to actually be when we play St Johnstone. So, if there is no more to dissect, I think we've came to the end of the episode of the 36th episode of the Since I Was Young podcast. So as always, guys, thank you very much for watching as always. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please think about subscribing and smash that little like button as well, because it is deeply appreciated, guys. And always as well, if you want to get in contact with us through our socials as well, all at Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at SIWY Alternatively as well, if you want to get in contact with us through our email as well, since I was young 1874 at gmail.com. They are all on screen as always. And of course, if you want to get in contact with either myself or Alan, our links to our Twitter pages will be in the description. So Alan, as always, mate, thank you very much for joining myself as always. And as we said, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. You take care. Bye for now.